So is everybody settled in?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So my name is Gregory Curtis. I don't know if y'all knew that. I'm a little obnoxious. I'm sure you heard me over the phone. Okay. So with that being said, I really am appreciative that you all took the interest in actually wanting to come to learn a little bit about like this first professional like development series that Michaela kind of inspired after a one-on-one. And today's topic is all dealing with professional branding. So Mr. Welton is going to be my clicker today. All right. Oops. Yeah. So can somebody please, who wants to volunteer? Because I'm going to be real interactive with y'all. So who's going to be volunteering to read the first quote? I will point you out like we're in first grade.
I do it. I speak in this room too often.
Yes, you do.
Hold on.
Okay, thank you, fella.
All right, let's get it. The surplus society has a surplus of similar companies employing similar, employing similar people with similar education backgrounds, working in similar jobs, coming up with similar ideas, producing similar things and similar prices and similar quality.
So to me, when I hear that quote, a couple things run in my mind, but how about you all? How do you all perceive that? Similar? I mean, I can basic. Okay, basic. Like basic, you know, real basic. Me and my friends, we got this thing, we like, that's a BW. Okay. So when you hear surplus society, you really need to think about, like, for example, give an example, like these top 100 banks, right? They typically recruit from top 100 schools. It's not uncommon to attend a top 100 schools, see Goldman Sachs, Bank of America, you know, Lazard, hedge funds, like Citadel, et cetera, they're all there recruiting. What they end up doing is falling into a trap of similarity. They're hiring the same type of person with the same type of experience, belonging to the same Greek organization, work in the same suburb, probably went to the same high school. You get what I'm saying? All this sameness. And there's no real diversity or innovation that comes from that. The real diversity actually happens when you look in the mirror.
Yes.
All right. So when we read this quote, who wants to volunteer?
There's only one very good life, and that's the life you know you want, and you make it yourself.
Does anyone know who Diana Virla is?
I like that.
Do you know who she is, Adam?
Yeah.
Okay, could you help me out?
She's the old editor-in-chief of Vogue for Anna Wintour before Grace Mirabella. She
She is the original.
made it.
She is the original. She is the original behind The Devil Wears Prada. So a lot of people think it's Anna Wintour. It's actually this woman right here. She also ran Harper's Bazaar, and she retired while working at the Met. She was pretty much bossed up. With that being said, she did not go to college, and she worked really hard to position herself into where she's at. There's an interview, and in the interview, she basically stated that education is the refinement that one does for themselves. It's not something you're going to get in school. And through that, she branded herself as a leader within the fashion space. And mind you, most people within fashion not created her, but they needed her approval. And you can click on. So today it's about you. Yes, it is. So with that being said, I have this thing where I'm always like, you may know my name, but you do not know mine. Say it again. Okay. And a part of that is you have to take ownership over your store. You have to bring yourself, you have to position yourself. So every day when you walk into these doors, you're telling a story. You're telling a narrative of how you're going to be perceived and the kind of mobility you'll have within Uber and the kind of mobility you'll have outside of Uber. Because everyone in this room may not be at Uber. Some may move up the ranks in Uber. Some may end up moving into other spaces. And so you really want to make sure that you're mindful of how your brand is being presented in and outside of work. So who are you? So I've been on some tickets and I didn't know who did that work. And I had questions. So I would go to Uber and I'll search their names. But these two particular people, they have great profiles on Uber. You have Chris Taylor and Delilah Johnson. They both put really great content on there with good quotes. They provided assets pertaining to their skill sets and their LinkedIn, their Twitter, and so on and so forth. To me, I think they did a really great job of leveraging internal resources, just with, kind of allocating the opportunity for you to be like, well, who is Delilah? Who is Chris? So when I first started, and once I was transitioned from BGS team to Jordan's team, I was very curious about the org chart. I wanted to know, who does Jordan report to? Who does Kevin report to? Who does Lance report to? And so on and so forth. And by understanding the lay of the land, I was actually living on LinkedIn, looking at what schools they went to, what they post on their Instagram. Some people call it South, and I call it You know, it's really about, to me, networking internally. So the world is never as big as we think it is. And so you really need to find a way to use the resources internally to create a space for yourself. And by creating that space, you open up channels for mobility for you and others alike. Does anyone know who she is? Okay, so now I want everyone to blurt out, what are words and thoughts when you think of Regina George?
Skank.
No, I was going to use Gandhi for this slide. So, come on, Regina George, what do you think? Mean girl. Intense. Slut. Okay, so to me, when I see this, while she is mean and manipulative, there's no doubt about it. I see an alpha. I see a leader. I see someone who's in control of their brand. Click it. Can you click XOXO, like Blair Waldorf from Gossip Girl? Okay, and if you could make this really large, you can move the mouse.
Look at Kelly's gym clothes.
Of course, all the plastics are the same gym class. With plastics.
They're team royalty. If North Shore was Us Weekly, they would always be on the cover.
That one there was Karen Smith. She was one of the dumbest girls you would ever meet. They had an extra English last year.
She asked me how to spell orange.
The little one, that's what she means.
She's totally rich because their dad invented toaster strudel.
She made herself everybody's business. She knows everything about everyone.
That's why her hair is so big. It's secret.
And evil takes a human form in Regina George. Oh, she makes me like your typical selfish, backstabbing, slut-faced hoe bag, but in reality, she's so much more than that.
She's the queen bee, the star. Those other two are just her little workers.
Regina George. How do I even begin to explain Regina George? Regina George is flawless. She has 2 penny prisons and some Alexa.
I hear her hair is a shirt for $10,000.
I hear she does car commercials in Japan. Her favorite movie is Varsity Blues. One time she met John Stamos on a plane and he told her she was pretty. One time she punched me in the face. It was awesome.
Thank you so much, Mr. Wilson. And then you want to come back here. Okay, and we're going to leave this on here. So after seeing that, what did you all think about her brand now? Think about it.
It's familiar to the people around her. Very well. She built an image.
She did. She did. And also she has social capital. She has social currency. I don't know if you all realize this, but when Katie first came to the campus, one of the first things Regina George did was invite her to sit down at the table. She didn't invite her to sit down at the table because she was just some random girl. She was a random girl with an interesting story who came from, we don't know what country, but Africa. And she just so happened to be really attractive. And being attractive is a social currency in high school. And then to have an interesting story. Remember, it's your story, it's your brand. You know, that kind of set her apart from that particular group. And so Regina knew that it was smarter to have her be a part of the plastics than to not be a part of the plastics at all, because it would only increase their social currency. So what does that mean to you? What does social currency mean to you at this day and age?
Followers.
What happened?
Followers, like.
Truth, all truth. Okay, what do y'all profiles look like on there? Okay. You can go ahead and look at it. So with that being said, social capital. Social capital is very much in the digital space. Can somebody please read Hannah Brofman's quote for me?
Got it.
Go for it.
focused on my hobbies and passions and then accidentally created a career out of it. My voice carried through the noise.
So what does that mean to you all, that her voice came through the noise?
She just kept on her path and didn't worry about
They
it.
focus through the distraction.
Absolutely. So social capital is about, really in regards to your brand, it's about making sure that your brand is cohesive as a whole. So it's about the network that you belong to, it's about the diversity that reflects within that network, so the diversity of thought, who belongs to it, who's listening, who isn't listening, the values within that brand. So Mean Girls, again, Regina George, the Plastics, they created a system of values. Wednesdays they wore pink. They they moved together. They would not date anyone's ex without someone's permission. They had a system, a girl code. They had citizen power. They had participation within that community and how they were viewed. They would much rather they would rather hate life and belong to the Plastics than to not belong to the Plastics and be the lowest on the social totem pole. They also had a network of safety and trust within it, a system of belonging, and so on and so forth. So I use that movie because it really reflects social capital from a high school perspective, but in reality, if you play that on social media, it does exist. It exists in just about every workspace, it exists in just about every social network, not the mean girl mentality, that too, but like how that social currency is operated and functions and plays out. So we are, has anyone seen the movie Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead?
Yes.
Okay, great, thank God. See, Ellen? I love this movie, and I'm just teasing, thank you. A lot of people haven't seen it. It came out in the 90s. Basically, her babysitter passed away. The babysitter had $10,000 in the bra that her mother had given. They gave the dead body to the morgue. They didn't realize the money was attached to, the woman's bra. And so she was forced to go out there and lie. She lied on her resume. She was a 17-year-old young lady, and she fibbed the entire way through, and she got a job working for the CEO of a fashion company. And one of the best lines used in that movie that was provided to her from the CEO to Christina, whenever Christina did not know what was going on, was what? So social media, 92% of recruiters are actually aggressively looking for talent consistently, according to Harvard Business Review, Forbes, and AdWeek. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Greg. What was?
Go ahead.
What was the one? Oh.
So she didn't know the answer. She didn't understand something. I'm right on top of that, Ron. All right. And so the referral. So we live in the digital age now of the cosign. For those who were here a little earlier, I had Nicki Minaj talking about how she had Wayne, Austin had Jay, Lil Kim had Biggie. So this digital age, you all need somebody. Everybody needs somebody to get to the next level. And on LinkedIn, for example, you can get a referral, you can get a recommendation. So that's the opportunity for you to actually start getting that referral very passively. 52% of recommendations are viewed by referral, by recruiters. They're looking for that referral, they're looking for that cosign. So who are you? Let's start with that for the brand. This is my friend Marquise Spiker. He actually went to Morehouse. He branded the hell out of himself. He owned everything that he grew up hating and pretty much branded himself. With that being said, you need to be self-aware. This isn't about you, but it's all about you. You need to make sure that you position yourself in the best light, be the very best you at all times. And you also need to tell your story with life. You need to take ownership over it. Don't give anyone the opportunity to talk about you. Have some involvement with that. Get to it before they can. And so communication studies one-on-one. This is the Johari slide, if you will. There's your public self of how you view yourself and information that people know about you. There is the blind self, information about you that you don't even know, but others kind of see. And then there's the unknown self, which is like your unconscious self, like no one knows what's going on there. No one knows, right? And then you actually have your private self. So that's like all the secrets that I have that I refuse to tell y'all because it ain't y'all business. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So the reason why I post this is because I think that this is really good for people to have, especially from a branding perspective. You need to sit down with someone you trust and appreciate. and ask them, hey, honestly, candidly, can you please tell me areas of opportunity so that I can get to the next level to grow? All right, so LinkedIn, we're gonna go through these bulletin points because I got a game. So with that being said, you should always be authentic when you're on LinkedIn. You need to make sure that your brand reflects you well. Your headline. Oh, I get so aggravated when I see people put like software engineer at Google. Okay, great. Okay. And then they put up, you should avoid cliches. I'm a creative, extensive experience, team player. These are words that everyone and their mama is using. You should not be doing that. You need to be visible. You need to make sure that you have, that you're consistently involved in the LinkedIn community. You're posting events, you're posting articles that you may have read, you're commenting in blogs and so on and so forth, and make sure that you build brand associations that are powerful and ultimately going to benefit you. Birds of a feather flock together, i.e. the plastics. Knowledge. Differentiate yourself by knowing your industry. Make sure that you become a thought leader. So if you're going to go into marketing, make sure you know everything there is to know about SEO, SEM, the latest way, what agency bought out who's now the next CEO of McDonald's. You need to know this. You need to make sure that you're fully in the loop and fully transparent by providing as much content pertaining to that space. A lot of LinkedIn groups, again, be personal. So if you need to have an Oprah moment, go for it. If you came to work and you got written up, write about it. Talk about what you learned from that experience on LinkedIn. Somebody's like, yeah, that just happened to me. Talk about it. Be personal. Be consistent. Make sure that your brand is consistent on LinkedIn, Twitter, About Me, Instagram. It shouldn't be inconsistent. You shouldn't be this polished person on LinkedIn. Go for it.
If I may, it does not matter whether the experience you have is negative or positive. It matters that you have it.
Correct.
Yeah.
Through your
Experience is the life.
Absolutely. Through failure, you learn a lot. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's when you become real. And now be consistent. Again, your LinkedIn shouldn't be this really polished ordeal. And then I go to your Instagram and you got slammed over the weekend. Like, fix it. And then give generously. So this means by helping others, you ultimately help yourself. It's not going to happen now. It may never happen at all. But the point is, you should give generously because, again, that's how doors and opportunities and spaces are created. So I want to play a game. And I'm going to need you all involvement because I'm not going to say anything. Okay? So you can go ahead and play it. This game is called LinkedIn or Linked Out. So we're either going to connect with them or we're going to say the hell with this. Do we want to link in with this person? With the president Barry? Well, he's the president. He got all the coins.
Yeah, but does he know?
I'm sorry, what?
Who does he know?
Well, he actually knows some really great people. Actually, he knows Philly Jack. Philly Jack owns like everything in Chicago pertaining to us. So come on down. Why don't we want to connect with him?
Because that's all he had.
Yeah, like,
No content whatsoever.
Really?
Telling me anything.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, you could connect in a way of being able to like market yourself because he does have 500 plus people that you can kind of see what.
So you're quantity of quality?
Sometimes.
Okay. Okay. Any others?
Not on my tickets.
Okay. All right. Okay. So what are we doing as a whole? Are we linked in this or are we linked out of this? Okay. All right, great. Next. So Christopher Lee. Are we linked in or linked in out?
I can't get past the fact that there's no profile picture.
Okay, but not only that, remember I said birds of a feather flock together? Why do you have porn stars on the side? Get it out of here! Okay, we linked in with Caitlin McDonald. She's a software engineer at Google.
all of her people line up the narrative that she has on her profile.
But now, if I was a recruiter, do I really want to look at Caitlin's profile anymore? Why? What's stopping me from going to Ian and Christopher and Aaron and Austin and Amy and Michelle?
Because the amount of time she spent at her job.
I don't know about that. She looks kind of boring to me.
She has no summary, and I mean, it's just, there's nothing
There's no
about her.
content.
Yeah.
Okay, so with that being said, we live in the digital age now where content is king. Remember that. She's linked out.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. Thank you. So these are great profiles. This is what it's like to be Beyonce on LinkedIn. Okay? Okay. So these people have 10 years of high-yield business strategy with Google and other corporations. Has his name consistently in his profile as he explains his bio. Scott Harris, da 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 da. Lazat did the same thing. Corinne, Nazir. Nazir, he branded himself differently. Marathon runner, impact investor, inclusive entrepreneurship, and strengthening community. Who the hell are you? You know, Molly, she put experience marketing and PR and social media pro. They've all found a way to kind of highlight an area of what they're trying to take ownership of, rather than just saying, I'm a software engineer at Google. That's a wonderful company. I want to be there too. But guess what? Like, if I'm a recruiter, no, at all. So we're going to move on to the next slide. So here's an example of how you network on LinkedIn. Can someone please read this quote from this gentleman?
You can create opportunities for people. You can amplify issues in ways that other people can't. And you can use your resources to create space for people.
Absolutely. So on LinkedIn, it's all about, again, networking, sharing your opportunity with people. With that being said, I had a sidebar conversation. I was internally networking with Taria. Taria had told me that one of her passions is actually children and technology. I shared with her that the former CEO of Tech Week, who also sold her company to Manifest Digital. This woman is amazing. Her name is Katie. Katie got all this money, got all the coins. And so I was just like, she just launched something with children and technology. Taria was like, Greg, I would love to know someone like that. I would love to be connected to her. Sent a message. Katie responded back saying, thanks, would love to connect with a little heart smiling. And next thing you know, Taria comes back in there. She said, thank you so much. Now they're connected. Also, it's about celebrating people's wins as well. One of my really good friends, we kind of interned a lot when we were in the music industry together, and a bunch of other random stuff. Her name is Aubrielle. She actually just recently got accepted as a PhD student at Harvard. I posted that on my page. She got 24 likes, and everyone was sharing it. She out here winning. All right, so now I want to show you all what good branding looks like holistically, okay? Who is Maya here? Maya is a small town girl from Country Club Hill. She grew up just down the street from me. She's an HBCU alum. She graduated from Roosevelt University. She actually lost quite a few pounds using SoulCycle. She enjoys drinking red wine, collecting handbags. She actually belongs to 2 junior boards, which is why you see a picture with her with Dwayne Wade. She's the auntie of Jordan, who she loves. She loves Jill Scott and Dwayne. And she refuses to let any of you girls know her man's name. He goes as Mr. on the internet. All right. So Maya got it right. She said she got a good watch, don't she? She out here winning. Okay, you can click that. So I go, wait, hold on. All right, so I go to Google, I type in Maya Harris. I'm like, oh my God, look at this. Look at that, you click into it. Let's click into one of her mediums. You go ahead and click. So we're going to her LinkedIn. Maya, the one thing about this profile that I did not care for before we talk about all the greatness, is that she actually put social media marketing manager, her title. I don't like that. She knows that. I sent her a text. With that being said, everything else on her profile is amazing. You can click in. She branded herself on her Twitter. She asks questions pertaining to marketing initiatives. She posts positive quotes. I don't know if you saw her LinkedIn, but she's passionately curious. That's like one of her biggest headways. She's trying to have a quote that follows her in her career. You can click on. And on her Instagram, same thing. She posts pictures that really speak to who she is as a person. She enjoys being Black and excellent. Her cousin just got accepted to Spelman. And again, she put in her little tagline, she's a marketer, she's an influencer, and she's passionately curious. Click again. She even went out and bought a domain. And the girl put all her work on there with all her effort, just to showcase the consistency of who she is, taking ownership over her name, ownership over her brand. You need her out and about. You go to type in her name, you find her, and you find the content that she wants you to know about her. You can click. So let's do a makeover. All right, great. We're gonna click into it. Michaela Cruz. Michaela, you know, is a team lead for Uber. She's a small town girl. She likes sushi. She lives downtown in Streeterville. She's a Libra. She wants to move to San Diego. She hates people that are late. All right, you can click. With that being said, her LinkedIn is losing. Okay. She had her GPA. Never have your GPA on your LinkedIn profile unless it is over 3.6. Anything less than 3.6 is not impressive. According actually, I should have had that on there, according to Harvard Business. Yeah.
Degrees, the years you got them, it doesn't necessarily matter.
It does not.
If it's more than 5 years old.
It doesn't matter. You don't even need to do
As you get older in your professional life, they will use that to find out, generally speaking, how old you are.
Correct. You don't need to put the year you
It's not
graduated.
age discrimination.
You don't need to do that. He's right.
What matters is you have it.
All right. She had no photos. She had a job title. As you all know, I don't like that. And then, you know, when I asked her what was the track she wanted to go around, I was like, girl, you did that a while ago. You should remove that. She's a hostess. She's like, no, that has to go. And then not only that, her bio, she put, I'm a sales manager and marketing professional, I. And as a recruiter, they're reading it. They're thinking, I. Or when you read it, you're thinking, I. But that's not your story. That's Michaela's story. You can click on to the next. So this is what Michaela's looking like now, after I touched her, okay? So now she's a manager of customer success all-stars, driving talent, operations, and learning results.
Yeah.
Okay. And not only that, Michaela helped lead critical safety and high-risk incidents, specializing in customer success and quality assurance for cross-functional support. Her work bridges technology, customer retention, and satisfaction. That sounds like a young lady I would connect with. I'm curious. Okay, so you can move on. So someone would read this quote for me?
Leadership. Leadership is about making others better as a result of your presence and making sure that the impact lasts in your absence.
So what does that mean to you all?
Leadership, part of leadership is having an effect on the people around you and making them want to follow you.
That'll change. Did you say that again? All right. Did you say that again? She wasn't very loud.
Leaving a mark.
That's your point. All right. Okay, cool. So I love, oh, wait a minute, move to a minute. I guess you know the secret. Anyway, Sheryl Sandberg, she's amazing. Does anyone know who she is? She's actually the chief operating officer at Facebook. And Mama's worth a little bit over $2.something billion. And she gave a speech at Harvard Business School. And she said one of her biggest moments is that which is when she considered she failed. She said that when she moved out of one role into another role, that team, none of them really, like with the review, none of them really cared for her work ethic, none of them really cared for the impression she left on their team. And she said that someone said she wasn't very memorable. Wow. And so for her, she was like, as a leader, I felt them. But it's not just about being in a leadership role. It's about every day when you come into an opportunity. It's about what the next step is. So I know a lot of us here at Uber have been looking at opportunities for team lead. Some of us even want to become so on and so forth. The impression that you make every single day is ultimately going to leave an impression in your absence. So when you go to do that interview for team lead, and when you walk out that room, you are being judged, you are being critiqued. And majority of all of the upper mobility that will happen in your career happens when you're not present. So you get a headshot, you get a headshot, and you get a headshot. Everyone gets headshots. So with that being said, if you want it, we're going to be doing a sheet where we're going to be providing everyone the opportunity to get a professional headshot. One more time. And it's actually going to be done by Glenn Curry and myself. We'll be revamping people's LinkedIn profiles as well as providing you all with the opportunity to have a professional headshot. All right.
Yeah.
So does anyone have any questions? So we're sending out a deck to see how many people are interested. Are you interested? Okay.
I have a question for you. Have you seen my headshot?
I have not.
Oh, you have that? I will show you. I will put that in the description.
Very cool. Very excellent. Oh my God, thank you all so much for being here.
Thank you.
Very inspirational.